We are here still at the BRICS Trades Fair as coverage from Hilaal TV. Let me welcome ASHRAF Ismail. He is the medical device manufacturers of South Africa, head of marketing. ASHRAF, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah so much for joining us.
Thanks, and well, thank you for the interview.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. So let's talk about medical device manufacturers of South Africa. I'm assuming that it is completely South African, and also lots of the products that you have here are mostly South African.
Yes, they're all South African. And actually, medical device manufacturers consist of and comprise of between 60 and 80 companies, all local manufacturers of South Africa. These companies we formed as an industry now 7 years ago, and we've been developing as an industry for the last 7 years. What's important, and we need to understand about all these products that you see here on the showcase, is that they're all locally manufactured. And in specific to BRICS, what we can export into the rest of the world and into the BRICS nations in improving our own country and bringing manufacturing back to South Africa. In a specific South African sense, South Africa is very advanced in terms of medical devices. And we'll use an example of my biomedical facility, which we manufacture animal health, human health, food and water safety test kits in conjunction with our partners in Turkey. Then we also have to look at some of our other local manufacturers. And I'll use an example like Pionico. This completely halal hand sanitizer, now exported to Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East, which you wouldn't know is made in South Africa. Then we'll use another product like...
There's so much here. There is really so much. Alhamdulillah,
You have to understand from a South African perspective, medical devices covers so much. Medical coding. So if you're a coder and you're starting to do coding, it would fit into an advanced medical devices like a blood pressure monitor, a smart watch, all of these things, smart clothes with blood pressure monitoring. Now with new self-driving coming from an automotive industry perspective, you can actually understand, because I come from automotive industry and it's very easy for me to cross over into medical devices. Then we have to take into account what is the human being and how is the human being and how is the world evolving. We understand from a DIN perspective what we need to do as humans, but then we also have to understand it from an animal health perspective. How do we care for these animals? Because in the care of the animals, although we are consuming them, which is halal, we also they sit with the same health problems that we have. And that transfers in the photo of their DNA across generations, and that affects human health. So this is where the biomedical plant comes in terms of viral and bacterial. So it's very important that we understand from a South African perspective what is medical devices going to play over the next 5 or 6 years, and being a very important industry that is currently growing across the board. We have aging population in our country, we have aging population globally, so as an industry we set to grow, and that makes us very, very important for the South African economy.
ASHRAF, I want to ask about what this BRICS Summit means for somebody like yourself, to show not just the nations of BRICS, but so many other countries that are here that, listen, we as South Africans can manufacture our own medical products.
Look, I think from a BRICS perspective, and we have to understand it from a China and a Brazil perspective, and even an India perspective, they have manufacturers, they're very advanced. But from a South African perspective, in having a medical device industry, a fully fledged industry, and ensuring we can be self-sustaining, and this is the improvement, why you see NHI coming on, National Health Insurance. National Health Insurance is a game changer for South Africans. The difference between someone that's earning, or at the top bracket, R1 million, and a person right at the bottom scale of it, which doesn't even have a job. We are all entitled to the same human rights and the same level of dignity and treatment. But how do we get these people at the bottom and the ones at the top to agree? And that's why we have NHI coming. And that's where medical device manufacturers come in. Because we are the manufacturers that are going to be supporting NHI.
ASHRAF, one final question. Where is this going forward? Where are we going in terms of the medical device manufacturer of South Africa? And what improvements are you seeking?
Well, the improvements we're seeking is to bring more and more younger people into the industry in terms of the patents that they can bring along and the knowledge base that they can bring along. But they also have to understand that they're going to be working with some fairly senior people, and that develops an economy. Because remember, our entire economy locally has to be developed and grown even further than what it is now. From a medical device perspective, what we're hoping to achieve is that we can become fully self-sustaining as a country. We might and you heard Minister Patel today talk about technologies being borrowed from China and Russia and India, and how we can improve ourselves. And this is where our young people need to get in. It's not just about being a doctor. It's not just about being a microbiologist or a pathologist or any of that. You need to expand in various fields, because you can expand in a medical field, but you're not actually expanding on science and mathematics. And this is where the STEM subjects come in. So if there's anything I can say to the viewers, very important, is that drive your kids in STEM subjects. Also, don't only make them graduates, because as they become graduates, and you'll see this in China now at the moment, they are sending more graduates to factories to take on manual labor. And that means the more graduates you have, the more technology input you have. And we know this with the new coming alpha generation, which is born between 2010 and 2024. The alpha generation they learn faster, like myself. We're more technologically savvy. We take to things a lot quicker. And this is things we're going to be seeing. We see it in the Middle East already with the Muslims in the Middle East, and you're going to be seeing it in South Africa. So from a progressive-minded thinking thing, I can say to Muslims around South Africa and in Africa that you need to think out of the box. Or I won't say out of the box. I would say you need to expand in every facet. And that's where medical devices come in. And this is something perfect. Yeah, a lot of our young people are into coding already. They're into apps. They're into development. It's one thing playing with an app or playing a game. From the age of our young kids that are already playing, that are playing on an iPad, that are doing these things, they already pick up the basics of coding. Robotics. I myself, I'm studying robotics at the moment, and I'm doing AI. And what does that tell you? And I have a qualification.
It's time to move, look ahead to the future.
Yes, and I come from automotive. And why do I come from automotive? Why is it so easy for me to join into an industry like this? It's because we wrote the plan on it. The artificial intelligence plan on the self-driving. All these technologies from automotive are now flowing into medical device, because in sleeping well, you eat well. In eating well, you have great health. And that is the basis of our religion. Great health, where your body is an amanat. And this is why medical devices is going to play more and more important part in a Muslim's life, and just in general around the world. Aging populations, great health. That's what I can say to you for us.
ASHRAF, Jazakallah so much for joining us, and all the best going forward, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to grant you continuous success and barakah in the work that you're doing.
And you know, our manufacturers, importantly, as South Africans, I think we need to take this into account. We're not often inspired because we live by many things around our country that is happening, bad things. We always hear that our government's doing this wrong and that corruption. But there's something our South African people need to take into account. They need to open their mind to the fact that there's people here in our country that want a better future, irrespective of religion. And this is what medical device represents. You know, we're a group of companies that are pushing really hard so that we can ensure everybody can have equal health, irrespective of your race, your religion, your financial standing, and your well-being. And this is what is important. And this is where we need to understand where we're going.
ASHRAF, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you for having me, Firas.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. That's ASHRAF ISMAIL from the Medical Device Association of South Africa. Do stay tuned to Hilaal Live as we bring you continuous coverage of BRICS.